I'm Deniese Chinnappen, Technology Portfolio Executive at Bet Software.
And I'm Zandile Mkwanazi, GirlCode CEO.
Welcome to another episode of Technically Speaking, a GirlCode podcast in partnership with Bet Software, where we talk to and about women changing the narrative on the African continent. We hope by the end of this that you are inspired and motivated to take up your place in the tech industry. Today, we have a very special guest with us, and that's Onako. The topic that we're going to be talking about today, Zandile, is about hackathons, right? I know that there's a massive GirlCode annual hackathon coming up, and there's a lot of build-up that's actually taking place right now. And I actually really want to talk about how do we use examples like these programs of the hackathons as part of changing a career opportunity and building jobs for young people, young ladies, young men, obviously all the youngsters coming into the industry.
Yeah, so I'm super excited. GirlCode Hackathon, shout out, coming up. And just to set kind of the scene, what the hackathon is all about, I think initially when I started it in 2014, so this is our 10th anniversary, right? Which is quite a big one. And why I'm so excited is that I realized that even though at varsity, there are women that are, studying computer science, IT, and so on, but we're not seeing a lot of them transition into the job, market and into like tech roles. And so back then, when I started it, it was just an idea where what if we had just women participating in a hackathon so that we could potentially recruit them, at that tech company that I was working at. And that idea quickly, blossomed and grew over the years to become what it is now, where this year, in fact, we'll be hosting the hackathon across 10 African countries simultaneously. So
wow.
It's going to be massive. We really just want to showcase that young women are talented, they are capable, and partnerships like Bet Software allow us to keep growing the hackathon and to showcase their skills and hopefully see a lot more of them, like Onako, ending up working at companies like Bet Software.
No, absolutely. I must admit, you've said 10. You did say 10.
I did say 10.
Countries, right?
Yeah, yes.
Gosh, that must be quite a logistical nightmare. I'd love to get a little bit of behind the scenes look into what goes into that.
Yeah, so especially because we want to have it on the same weekend, meaning that 100 young women across all these 10 countries will be building solutions. So we obviously targeting the UN Sustainable Development Goals and sort of asking the participants to build solutions towards those goals over, the same weekend. It's quite a lot, but I think the biggest thing is our partnerships, and not just with corporates, but with community organizations as well. So we're really doing a lot in terms of also, expanding our footprint as GirlCode and making sure that not only are we focusing on goals in South Africa, but really like across the continent. So we're quite ambitious like that. There's a lot of planning happening, but we have an amazing team that's basically pulling all of this together. And which I think I'll mention towards the end, the big prize, right? So it's going to be exciting for the girls that will be participating this year.
Oh, wow, looking forward to it. I must admit, Bet Software is incredibly, we are just loving walking this journey with you. And I think it's even more inspiring to have one of your ex-hackathon candidates with us today, Onako. Welcome to our podcast, and it's just so lovely to have you here. Please share with us a little bit about yourself and your journey and how you've gone through this entire process of going through GirlCode Hackathon.
Thank you so much for having me. So I'm Onako Nhlangulela. I am currently a graduate with Bet Software. So I am a software developer. So I actually started off wanting to be a biomedical scientist. From high school, I actually wanted to be a biomedical scientist. So when I finished high school, I actually got accepted at UKZN for biological sciences, which I actually did the first semester, and second semester, I couldn't afford to stay in school, so I had to drop out. And after that, the following year, I actually went to college, where I did electrical engineering. mechanical engineering. So I did my N2, N3, and N4. So after that, I actually branched off to start work because I didn't actually enjoy it and didn't see myself actually growing into it. And after giving up my science, I wasn't really sure where I fit in or what exactly I wanted to do. So I actually went to work. So I started at call centers, CCI.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I actually went to CCI, and then I actually went back, tried to go back to school, but it wasn't really feasible with the funds. So I actually went back to the job to get a job at a call center again. So while I was actually busy at the call center, I read an article about software development. I was like, okay, this is interesting because I wasn't really well versed in tech or what actually happens. So I decided to do a little research. I was like, hey, I see myself doing something like this. Plus watching sci-fi movies, you see those. So I was like, hey, this is not bad. It's something I could enjoy. So from there, I actually tried to go back to school, but funds were still a bit shaky. So until a friend of mine actually sent me a link to a program called Rethink Code. So I was like, they were willing to pay people to actually learn software development. So they were paying people. So I was like, this is a scam. So I actually recruited my best friend to go with me. So we did the test, and luckily we actually got in, and we had to do a week-long boot camp. So on the bootcamp, before the bootcamp, they give you a little links on what to actually study up on, what to be ready with. So we did a bit of that. And then when we went there, I was like, this is very hard. I don't see myself doing this. But it turned out I actually did very well. So when I got the call that I actually got accepted, I got excited all over again. So when I started, they actually a great program because they give you a laptop, because they're mostly dealing with disadvantaged people. So they're able to give you a stipend and they give you a laptop to actually work, and they start you off. And once you get started a month in, that's when it starts getting real. So they give you projects every 2 weeks. You get 2 or 3 projects to do. So while doing that, it was my first time actually coding. So I had to do a lot of research. And then amongst the people who were actually well-versed in the tech industry were like, there are such things called hackathons, right? So I was like, hackathon? Are we hacking people?
Yeah, that's what people think we're doing.
And then they're like, no, it's actually a chance for you to grow your skills and meet other people in the industry. So I was like, oh, okay. So the first hackathon I actually did was GirlCode. So when I actually went as a group from Rethink Code as females. So we got together and we're like, okay, let's go do this. So once we got there, we had to solve some problems. And it turned out I was more of a back-end developer, and I actually had to do front end, something people can actually see. So I tell you, I actually figured out how to do web development on the day. I had to go on Google. Google was my friend. I had to actually figure it all out there. So I would say it is a great place to actually grow and get to learn and be well-versed, because you never know anything. So when you have that mentality that you don't know anything, you are always willing to learn more and know more. So that's how I actually got through those 24 hours, 36 hours, 26 hours, because it starts from 8 till the following day 3.
And it's coding from this time you start to the time you end. Wow.
Yeah, so you learn how to survive and think with minimal sleep or no sleep at all.
I'm hoping that you are excited and you're glad to be here.
I am very excited.
That's what I'm feeling anyway.
I am very excited. It is an honor, and I am finally doing something I enjoy, and I get to learn every day. So it's a never-ending journey that I'm enjoying.
Yeah, and I think for me, what's even more inspirational, when I started, I talked about how partnerships, with companies like Bet Software are important because we want to see that transition and that impact where someone coming to the hackathon can actually get a job opportunity, because we do ask for companies to bring their recruitment teams and recruit. Like, here are the women, there's always a narrative. Where are they? Where's the pipeline? That's part of what GirlCode, focuses on, providing that pipeline of young women that want to be in this industry. And, with the previous podcast, we did talk about different careers in tech. And yes, here it might be specifically for software development, but there's actually a lot of other things that, you could be recruited into. So, yeah, I think this type of partnership just shows the real impact, right, that we are making in people's lives. And for me, I'm just grateful for that. And having Bet Software, I know there's a lot of other things that we are doing in preparation for the hackathon, which I'm equally as excited about.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Zandile. There's quite a lot of build-up from our side as well with supporting GirlCode in terms of mentorship. And, the beauty about the program is that it's not just focusing on the coding and the software development side. I think what we've actually got coming up is being able to provide mentorship around the aspects of project management. How do you actually see a project from its inception all the way through to taking it out into a production space where people are using it? There's a lot of mentors coming in from the quality side as well. So we've actually got people coming in to talk to your girls, your ladies, about all of the various careers that they actually have an opportunity, and it's certainly something that's possible. Yeah. Now, I just want to take a step back a little bit. I know that with you going into now, this is your 10th year, and obviously it sounds like it grows every year and it starts to expand further and further into so many other different countries. Are you finding more of your candidates, more of the ladies that come through the hackathon, being able to plant themselves into other companies in other regions, even across the globe?
Yeah, no, definitely. And, I'd actually have a really amazing story an anecdote that I'd like to share with one of the winners, or team of winners, who we went to Amsterdam with. So to a Women in Tech conference in Amsterdam. And part of that was being able to network with, people that were recruiting actually. And one of the companies essentially was like, okay, I'm recruiting. It doesn't matter where the people are coming from. I recruit from across the globe. So we partnered with them where we had a mini sort of hackathon with them, and they interviewed the ladies that participated. And 8 of our candidates ended up being hired and are now living in the UK. Right. So this is now 3 years. They've been living in the UK, and it just shows that coming to the hackathon, it's not just, okay, it's a weekend, I'm having fun, but there are real opportunities that wait for you when you are there, and you need to grab it. You need to take up the opportunity. When you see that someone is a recruiter from Bet Software, go and talk to them and say, can I show you my CV? And if I'm not the right candidate, what exactly can I change up? And that's what I want to encourage all the participants, even this year. Make sure that you use the opportunity. And something else you talked about, right, which we are doing in preparation, is the mentorship element. It's so important. So at our hackathons, we generally have mentors that come to the hackathon and support the ladies. And I was saying earlier on to Onako, I hope to see you this year as a mentor, just so you can guide the young people and show them that, okay, this is, help you think about your solution and what you're building and the technology that you're using. So with that, actually, I do want to ask you a question around mentorship. And, have you had a mentor that's helped you in terms of your career? Do you mentor younger ladies where you are, or, just your journey around the whole mentorship piece?
When it comes to mentors, I haven't really had much. And with the beginning of my career, I just actually Bet Software allocates you a mentor to actually guide you through the journey. So I currently do have a mentor and is guiding me through. So I am willing to actually help other people, especially girls who are going through hackathons. It's not just fun and games. Yes, it is, but it's not only fun and games. It can actually kickstart your career, which is what it did for me.
Yeah, no, amazing. I love that. And I love that we have, that's part of your ethos where you allocate someone a mentor as they come into the organization.
Absolutely. That's something that every single person gets when they join us. And, again, I think it's phenomenal in the sense that we have so many people in our team who are constantly putting their hands up to be mentors, because being a mentor takes time, right? It uses up time, and we still have jobs to do. But I think what I've actually seen coming out from the mentors who put their hands up and take on a mentee, take someone under their wing, is I've been here for 4 years. And I think what's absolutely amazing is you get to see this journey between two people and a relationship that actually grows from the very first moment that they meet. So I'm pretty confident that where you are now, and you look back to your initial engagement with your mentor, there's certainly a relationship there, but it's not something that's actually going to end the moment Onako's mentorship actually stops or ends. Right. It's a relationship that continues well into the years, for as long as they both are actually working in the same organization. And I think that's just a very, very beautiful thing that we actually try to create, because, as human beings, we do rely on relationships a lot, whether they are in the personal space, whether they actually are in the professional space. The mentorship element allows for that conversation to keep going. And I'm pretty confident, again, that Onako, at some point, you're going to go back to your mentor when you are, you've got some question that you are wondering, what exactly do I have to do, or how do I do this? He or she is going to be the person that you go back to, because there's a relationship that exists there, right? And so I love the fact that we actually have that program at Bet Software. I've heard so many good things about it from a lot of the new people that have actually come on board. And it really has been a game changer for us in terms of retaining our people as well. Now, I just want to go back to the hackathon, right? I know we talked about a little bit about the detail of the hackathon, how it works, and why hackathon. But something that you said in our very first episode, when we talked about our journeys and why we are doing what we're doing, I'd like to actually pick on that a little bit from that perspective of, there was a very much, from the way I saw it, very much a stance of you wanting to invest in young women and seeing this gap of women in technology close, right? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I think much to also Onako, when I ended up working for a tech company, initially, I was going to go work for a bank, right? I was going to be a quantitative analyst, nothing to do with coding or technology. And just somehow, through an internship opportunity, actually discovered how much I love technology and building solutions, solutions that can change people's lives. And so for me, coming into the industry, I realized that we don't have enough women. And certainly in the pipeline, we don't have enough women that are getting into companies and, working within the tech industry. And so the idea to sort of host a hackathon is something that I approached my then boss, and it was like, look, I've been to hackathons, where there's both men and women. And to be quite honest, my experience wasn't that great, right? Where when you're part of a team and it's you'll do the presentation, just focus on being pretty. Well, we've got this handled as the guys. And I was just okay, no, I'm not here for you to have it handled or for me to dress up, look pretty and do the presentation. And so I wanted a space where women firstly felt safe. Usually, obviously, hackathons are overnight, she said earlier on. So you start in the morning on Saturday. don't go home. You literally like work throughout the night. And so I wanted to create an environment where young women could come, feel safe, build what they want to build, and show to companies that we're here, like we are capable. Please hire us, So that's kind of how it started. And even within the company that I was at, we ended up having like 6 interns in the first 2014 hackathon that joined the company. And then the evolution over the years, like it just grew organically because there was a need. I think, there was a real problem that other women were also facing. And like you're saying, having someone invest in them and seeing them and saying, okay, we can give you the opportunity. Because often it's like you need experience and it's like, where must I get the experience? Like, surely someone must give it to me. So for me, I see the hackathon as a stepping stone for young women wanting to be in tech companies because you get exposed. And it's not often you get that opportunity where you can literally, like I said earlier, you can speak to recruiters. You can come ready with your CV. And say, here it is. Do you have opportunities for me? So that's what it's about. And I love seeing that translate. And we've seen many of the participants getting job opportunities. Some of them have now are managers at the companies that have been, sponsors. Just, in a couple of years, we've just seen a lot of growth in terms of companies absorbing graduates from the hackathon. So for me, the real world impact is what makes us keep going and saying, okay, what's next? How do we grow this? How do we do this in 10 African cities and make sure that even in those other countries, we still can translate it to create real impact for these young women's lives? Yeah.
Fantastic. And are you seeing now this pay it forward sort of going almost sort of full circle where you've got these people who are these ladies who are in these senior positions coming back, being involved, putting back into Hackathon or GirlCode as a community almost. Are you seeing that happening?
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the things, and there's a saying, when you invest in women, you're investing in a village, in a nation. And it's so true because women want to give back or tend to want to give back, right? Not everybody, but generally. And we've seen even within our community and our alumni, I'll talk about the girls that are in the UK, they'll occasionally, donate to the organization to help us and sustain us because at the heart of it, we are community driven. And so we do rely on people that have benefited from us to, in one way or form, right? It's not always about you must give money or whatnot, but coming back and thinking about how do you impact the next girl? How do you give back? And it doesn't have to be through us also. We've seen others starting their own organizations, and we are happy to support that as well because we're trying to grow. Like there's enough room for everyone. There's so many young girls out there in villages and rural areas that nobody is thinking about them. So it doesn't have to be GirlCode that goes out there and gives them the opportunity. If you're I'm passionate, I want to go back to my community and impart these skill sets, we are there to say, let's see how we can support you and just make this thing we need to close the gap, essentially. That's what we are working towards, closing the gender gap in general, but also specifically in the tech space.
Onako, I want to come back to you in terms of, where you are right now, right? I know you spoke very passionately about your job and your role and what it is that you're doing, and you sound like you are loving it. What would be the one piece of advice that you would be able to give our viewers who are in a space of where they are either not sure what they might want to do, possibly taking a gap year or 2 or 3, however that sort of looks like, because the reality is that investment in oneself often comes with the cost of finances. We were speaking earlier and you'd mentioned how that impacted your ability to just go into a university and do the studies and go off in one direction. But what advice would you actually give the young women of today?
Okay. The one thing I would actually give is take opportunities, take chances, because you never know when you might succeed. If I didn't go to Rethink Code, I wouldn't be where I am right now. If I didn't try out hackathons, I be where I am right now. So taking chances and just going at every opportunity that you find is one key, and always having an open mind and willingness to adapt and change as the world and life changes around us.
I love that. I love the fact that open mind, adapt, flexible to change. It absolutely is a skill that we need to have these days. Yeah,
Definitely.
You know, I always tell our girls, like, you need to show up. You need to show up for yourself. You need to show up for people that are working behind the scenes to make these opportunities available for you, right? So that's all you have to do. You have to show up and make sure that, you know, you are prepared as well. So like, show up scared, but show up. I think that's like always my message to my co-coders. So I echo, you know, your sentiments and what you're saying. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. So as usual, we have a Women Crush Wednesdays that we talk to. Right? Not sure if you have one that you want to talk about, but Zandile, who's your Women Crush Wednesday for us today?
Yeah, so, you know, since we are like gearing up to the hackathon and the many participants and girls that are part of it, I'm not going to name one person today. I think for me, it's all the young women, one, that are participating, the women that show up on a Saturday and Sunday to come and mentor. We've had, you know, many from Bet Software as well. Like, shout out to them and for making the circle bigger. Like, these are women that I admire because they believe in the vision that I've set out, right? And for me, for someone, I'm always in awe when people like back this vision, because when I started, I didn't think, okay, companies are going to work with me. And it was never about that. It was about, there is a problem. And I believe that I can be part of the solution. And along the way, there have been amazing women that have been part of the solution with me. And one of those is also you, Deniese, you know, taking this thing and being part of this podcast with me. I think those are the women that I want to celebrate, that I want to thank for making really this 10 years a dream come true and making my life about changing young people's lives. There's nothing more rewarding. There's nothing more humbling as a human being to be part of that. So that's what I'm going to say is my Women Crush Wednesday. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. And I'm going to say right back at you, not because you mentioned me already, but, you know, just listening to you talk about not just the hackathon, the why. There was such a desire there to actually have to go out there and, you know, take a chance, because it certainly was. It was a big step, I believe, that you took, leaving a job and going into a space that is quite the unknown. Not, you know, for that matter, relying on a lot of sponsorships as well and partnerships with other companies. And I really do, I think that's just amazing, Zandile. So you would be my Women Crush Wednesday, obviously in context of this hackathon and what you have done already. I think 10 years at this has been absolutely inspiring and phenomenal. And to see someone like Onako, who is a living, breathing person sitting here working with us in our company, who's come through your program and us, you know, it's almost sort of this full circle here. I think that's just such an amazing story for me. So well done and thank you.
Thank you, Deniese.
Doing an amazing job.
Thank you, ladies. And like, I don't know if you've just met each other. I don't know if you have a woman crush or any sort of, you know, parting inspirational words.
Okay. So personally, I take most women in tech as an inspiration, just to know, like Deniese, it is possible, it can happen. And also having people like you, Zandi, who actually help you to get there. It is possible.
Oh, I love it.
Oh gosh, is this episode gonna make me cry or what?
Me too. But I love it. It's been amazing. And yeah, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your journey with us. For us, I think that's what keeps us going, right? When you see, like you said, a person sitting here that, even if it's a small part, we played a part in her life and what she is going to one day achieve, and many other women that she's going to impact. So it's been an amazing discussion and session. I really loved today's episode.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been amazing.
Thank you for sharing. And there you have it. Yet another fantastic episode of Technically Speaking. I think today's was just really, really phenomenal. And I mean, I'm definitely inspired and I'm hoping that you are too. So feel free to like, share, follow us on social media, engage with us, send us your comments, send us your questions. If there's topics that you actually have that you would want us to engage in, please, please, please go ahead, put that in there and we will certainly look that up. Until next time.